Angewandte Kunst. He was actually the first one that I asked for help 1 year ago, actually, just after Art Biennale, because I knew he had this amazing, courageous show of bringing the permanent collection of the National Museum in Pyongyang, which is shown in that image. And he was so he was one who was like actually went to North Korean embassy in Vienna and sent my letter with some gift book. It didn't come out well, but we thought it was important to actually feature what they like to show, what they're proud of. So we actually like exhibition within exhibition, sort of quotation. We made a matching wooden frame. And then this is like a Korean Seoul guidebook next to Pyongyang guidebook. We have a Korean architecture magazine next to North Korean architecture magazine. Kim Jong-il's treatise on architecture. And there we kind of we even have a children's section there. And then there are artistic way to engage DMZ project. I think the Sanjang team is bringing also more stuff. And then also this, I told you about this 19-corner building. This plan shape has a 19 corners. Usually the 4 corners, so we're making all the corners to the top. Because I think that each things itself we found is fascinating, but it's actually so much about what's happening in between. Which we found something a lot of things that are funny, punchlines, but also there are mysteries and really abysmal mysteries that we don't know. So I think although it's really packed, according to him, it's really we don't really know much, but it's a good step. I think it's a good way to demonstrate that how great it could be, how interesting it could be when we actually meet. Instead of this fake world flag that represents the world we like to be with the now 15 nationalities to present this peninsula, but eventually 2 flags with maybe we don't need artists or other mediators, but just direct communication with 2 architects meet and just show the most boring models and what we are.
So you decided to put some new flag between.
This is the Sergei Min design, and that was our idea that we wanted to kind of present this as a sort of a vehicle to sort of expand and it become a worldly thing. But what I initially started out was the 2 countries interact and make something. Make some first consensus of what to show, which will be a very interesting process just to identify what we both like to show. Could be a best school, could be a best structural accomplishment, but somehow it evolved because our first wish didn't happen. So it's these are also very fascinating investigation, work in progress of Korean artist and video maker. He made so far he visited 6 African countries. Since 1970s, early 70s, Korea has been competing to make more diplomatic connections with African continent to get UN vote to secure better position. So North Korea had influence different countries and they helped them build their monuments and presidential palaces and so on. So he has, but his interest wasn't about Africa. It was more about North Korea, but he couldn't go. So he's making more trips than he will actually make a feature film. But he's just developing this part of history which is very unique, because you hear about other European, American influence architecture to other continents, but this is North Korean influence engagement, which later become this also cultural export, because they are the only country now have a skill to build very tall statues and so on. So they are now building something that has nothing to do with their ideology, but like Malaysia, they have nice animal sculptures, and they become this export from. And this section is a 3rd section that we identify as a common theme after the reconstructing life and the monumental state. This is a border section. DMZ as a main element, but also it's like more than that. It's not also we want to see that as a much more mediated and much more transgressible border. So. There are investigations of various architects. We look at it as a section, not as an iconic plan, but you see the most preserved ecology happening with a lot of endangered species, with the migrating birds, with the balloon, with pira, what we call it, tunnels and landmines, and so you can kind of get much more physical experience. This is a 12-minute video. Kim Dong-sen, New Zealand Korean architect, and he developed this scenario of border as the history is starting now, but also border as a lens through the lens of barrier, and then there's a lens of transgression, and also as a global scale story.